I now request Dr. Venkatesh Kulkarni to make his presentation.
Yeah, I have been given a topic on views of private sector on public-private partnerships. I speak here as I have served in advisory committees of some consortiums and even in some Indian institutions. So my views are very clear. I just want to come directly to the topic. Next slide, please. This is where. Yeah, expectations are like from a seed company. As a seed company, if I feel that as a seed company, what are the expectations from the public-private partnership as competitive performing hybrids, and they are producible. Yes, sir. Competitive performing hybrids and they are producible, because there are some instances where PPP for hybrids were done, but their producibility was questioned. So their adaptability was not possible. So this is one of the primary expectation, and for that, go-to-market hybrid licensing is one of the model. And this is being happening both in international institutions, especially in CIMIT, and I adore the CIMIT's model in Africa, wherein they have contributed a lot for white maize expansion in Africa, especially in Eastern and Southern Africa. And now they are bringing the same model here. In fact, similar model exists in India, ICAR system, and it really needs some better velocity to. The second expectation is parents with conventionally bred traits and biotech integrated traits. Parental lines, pre-finished, highly studied lines are very important here. That side, biotech traits licensing and market licensing is a model. Here comes a lot of consortiums, like, I'm very happy that father of all germplasm sharing consortium is sitting here, Dr. Gowda. I have an opportunity to work with him for 3 years in the evolution of those consortiums. Especially, I was surprised when the decision was taken in the ICSAT consortium that they are not going to breed any hybrids. They are only going to breed only parental lines. Hybrid is a botheration of private companies, not ours. So that was one strategic decision which really helped to make a big impact in the market. Others are allied germplasm with usable, desirable traits with best of its information. This is where even in ICR, this also serves in international consortium, but in ICR, this is something which is required, and models to be prepared for sharing these kind of germplasm is to be done, and activism in this area from ICR is very much essential. I'm just putting up 2 slides here. This is where the whole spectrum of breeding activity comes when a product to be achieved, like allied into germplasm, line into germplasm, germplasm into germplasm. You can say this is first slide, parental lines into parental lines. If you take this, as you go down, the timeline increases for the delivery. For example, sir, if whenever we select a line from CIMIT or a ICSAT consortium, from that day to the product delivery, means just for the first production cycle, it really takes minimum 3 to 4 years. Means there is a timeline. Even after having a selected finished line, this I'm saying it finished line, it takes 3 to 4 years. Means there is an investment in the consortium, and investment for 3-4 years to achieve the better line, better hybrids. What is the predictability? If the finished line is good, then there is a chance of achieving the better hybrid after 4 years. If there is anything wrong, then that doesn't happen. This is one of the experience in HRDC consortium, especially hybrid rice consortium. For the last 10 years, no best male sterile line which has come up, which is producible, which can make a rice hybrid from that consortium. Because I was sitting as an advisory committee member. This was one of our primary demand. You can see whenever we select a parental line in the consortium or in the germplasm, our predictability increases, because there lies the private sector breeders, because we are all in a better velocity to deliver. We have to deliver it early. So predictability and delivery timeline both goes well hand in hand. So this is a wide spectrum of breeding activity that we do in our day-to-day life. And who supports this? Because yesterday Dr. Gowda was mentioning on pre-breeding lines. pre-breeding line is developing a pre-breeding line is a highly strategic in nature. Investment from Indian companies sometimes goes very, very difficult to do these kind of things. Although in some vegetable programs we are seeing pre-breeding is happening even in multiple companies, because there the cost of pre-breeding is very less. However, pre-breeding as a strategic part in a public sector would be a great helpful in developing a desired trait for the company, which is a common across the requirement of all the companies. So, who are those coming? I just want to make a mention of ICRISAT's consortium. ICRISAT consortium, wherein I have worked also. I was advisory member also. This is one of the most successful consortium that we have had. Then CIMMYT, BISA, that is both for wheat and maize. I would like to say that I was in a genomic selection plot in Jabalpur and Ludhiana wheat genomic selections. It was a visual delight. They called us to go and select for the wheat lines which were derived from the genomic selections, and it was one of the most memorable day as a breeder in that block, because the kind of material they exposed to us was something which I have never seen while I was working with Dr. Hanchinad or in my life in my previous year also. So that was something which was very, very good. In addition to that, I need not have to mention the contribution of Dr. Vivek here, because in each phase, like the Pearl Millet Consortium, the CIMMYT Consortium has emerged into a very different matured this thing. I must say that today, because we are giving feedback in medium maturity Kharif and in medium maturity North Indian segment, there are definitely there are hybrids coming, and there is going to be a big impact. And I must say this also, the kind of resistance sources which they have provided, they are really working well, and we are putting them in the light. And the maturity sources that they have provided are very good in this. So I really congratulate, because the last time, one of the best part of CIMMYT consortiums is that they make two times field days, one at a vegetative phase, another at a cob show. That really helps the breeders to understand estimates the performance of line much better. Where in other places there is only once the crop visit is allowed. So this is one important part. That then Harvest Plus has given IRI, AVRDC. I must say that this is one of the most successful, wherein biotech traits, especially TY markers of tomatoes, are really serving to the industry to the best of breeding for resistance to tomato. And AVRDC consortium, especially in tomato breeding, is far better than what we are. Means we are dependent on not only the germplasm but the breeder ready markers. Breeder ready markers available only in two crops as of now. One is rice, another is tomato. So we are continuously discussing with Dr. Vivek on this, and probably we are expecting that in wheat, in maize also. IR and ICR I am mentioning because today's agriculture in India has a very significant contribution from these both institutions, ICR and IRI. Needless to say, and recently I have visited IRI, especially rice program. Look at the kind of biotech integration the breeding program is doing there. They have pyramided a lot of markers in one genotype, especially when I see a basmati, their blight 4 genes, blast 3 genes, and then in addition to that, they are also pyramiding a herbicide resistance gene. The kind of robust work that they are doing, and I am seeing a full busy, buzzing laboratory in IRI. ICR, you know that a lot of contribution from us, because all basic germplasm that we got from 1985 to 1995 was from ICR. However, today the germplasm sharing in ICR has been a very, very difficult task. Yesterday we saw NBPGR that they are ready to say it, because one of my pettiest experiment is that every university, including CICR Nagpur, they call us for a field day, for selections. We go and select the material and give the list, but they are not able to provide us. So, is that so that they are asking us to select and get the information but not providing? So it's not, intent is good, but they are tied up with some procedural thing, probably that might be not helping them to help us back. So this is very important to be noted down. So I must say that Pearl Millet Consortium is one of the most impactful, because I was also part of the impact study of this. Say that 65 to 70% of the hybrids are in the market from this particular consortium. Yes, sir. I'm finishing. This is last. Please. Cement most diversified, because the kind of informed material the cement giving is one of the best in the world now, because the kind of data and material supply, the nature of planting, whenever we see this, I rate it as one of the best consortium, especially IMEC Asia is one. IRI, before HRDC, we got a lot of ministerial lines, etc., etc. As research people, we know that there are only 6 to 7 lines which are operating in hybrid rice. This is probably one of the reason wherein we didn't make a big dent in the hybrid rice, because main sterile lines requirement is one of the major area in rice. Then AVRDC, needless to say that I have already mentioned about it. In tomatoes, it has got a big impact. And recently now in bitter gourds, we are going to have some good days, as I feel, because another phase is starting. Harvest Plus, in wheat, there is one variety which is being sold by at least around 35 people, and it has occupied a largest area. This is one of the biggest success of high zinc wheat that they have. They gave 2 varieties, and both varieties were very good. And they have freely distributed pearl millet. That's one of the best part, and probably in the coming days, high zinc, high iron pearl millet hybrids will be a common phenomenon. IRI, basmati rice, especially biotech integrated for blight and blast, is one of the success. They are open for registration, licensing. Need of the industries in these crops, we really need some consortium in India, and there are capabilities in India to do this kind of a job. But however, we all, I think fire farming, or all of us, ATPB has to put our efforts to bring down whatever bottlenecks are there in executing these consortium, because intent in all these institutions is also there. The directors, they say, hey, we want to do it. Arey, hamare ko aise ho jate. You know, there are some difficulties. I have seen in rice, there are small things which we can address. I am trying to do that in the rice much better way. Probably rice could be one which will roll out first. But however, these are the crops wherein a lot of germplasm, especially I want to say cotton, because stagnation of the cotton yields past 5 years really is an alarming situation, wherein we really need a better cotton germplasm, which is available with the Indian institutions, which can really help us in bringing, taking the best germplasm to the farmers. Some special project which did not make impact, wherein I was also part of that, were GMO crops, and from the public institution, which did not make impact either by the procedural part or by some character deficiency in those. Limitly projects, we had a very huge money spent on that. We did not make any impact on that. Some of the DBT project, which is my personal we could not make in that. That means to say there were some things which were wrong expectations from the big projects was there, because the kind of approach that the project was taking was not towards a finished product, but it was improving the process or improving the small trait which was already available. Need a different outlook, but I'm just trying to say that consolidation of private industries very important in making the public sector, private plus public project would be a great this thing. As gene editing is coming up, and we really need a very different approach with public sector to achieve goals through gene editing, because which is going to be a next big revolutionary thing in the seed industry, which can improve the value and volume of the seed and take the seed industry to a big level. And there are some of the things which we are able to, we are ready to share at the private this thing. I can share, and I am joined with my product development head, Dr. Pathak, and my cotton breeder here. Both of them have contributed a lot in these this thing. We also need something as a company. I have listed that. Sir, thank you, sir. Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity.